What's up, spectators? Welcome back to an episode of Ace Attorney 6. Last time we were at the Sprocket estate, then Larry ran away like an asshole like he usually does, so we had to come back, and we interrogated him, and he says he saw a pterodactyl outside of his window in the cabin. Now we're gonna go back to the detention center and speak with Ellen. No. Why? Please understand that this is in Master Soren's best interest. Sounds like Ellen's busy talking with someone. Probably the butler. Yep. The next president cannot be married to a criminal. It would disgrace Sprocket Aviation. Miss Ellen, I need you to forget about this marriage. Pardon us. If it isn't Mr. Wright. So, their marriage is definitely off? There was no other choice. We cannot have a criminal in the family. For the sake of Master Soren and the Sprocket family, this is what's best. If it's self-defense, you're not a criminal. Okay. In that case... I mean, sure, even if it's self-defense, it makes her a murderer. Technically, right? Even in self-defense, if you kill someone, you still killed someone. What if Nick here proved Ellen's innocence? Then you wouldn't have a criminal in the family, right? I suppose you're right, but I'm afraid that will be impossible. That's not true. Not for Nick. He may look like a nobody, but he can do some pretty amazing things. I don't take cases on lightly, so rest assured I'll prove her innocence. Mr. Phoenix Wright, I understand your name is quite well known in the judicial world. For better or for worse. Pierce, I want you to promise me this. If I can prove Ellen's innocence, then you won't stand in the way of Soren and Ellen's marriage. Very well. But not even the most talented lawyer in the world can change reality itself. And the reality is, Miss Ellen is guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. I believe that's where you're wrong, Pierce. I'm clean, I swear I am. Obsessively, compulsively clean. Just as clean and pure as this pure white dress. Fine. You have my word, but you'll be the one to regret this promise. Why? Why would you regret it? Now, if you'll excuse me. Now I have all the more reason to win this case. Ellen, we finished our investigation, and we'd like to talk with you about what we found. Okay, so what'd you find out? In the course of our investigation, we heard that you'd been seen standing in front of the victim with a murder weapon in your hands. It wasn't what it looked like. It's true I was holding the murder weapon. But when I found him, he was already dead. I panicked. And I was hoping I can go back in time again like I had done earlier. So I picked up the timekeeper from the pedestal and brought it over without thinking. You were so desperate you were ready to try anything, huh? Unfortunately, that sort of behavior makes you an easy target for the prosecution. And as for your little trip through time, none of your in-laws could confirm your story, I'm afraid. I see. The only exception is Larry. He said he saw something. What did he see? Can't say I quite believe it myself, but Larry claims he saw something incredible. He claims he saw a pterodactyl flying outside the airship. Not only that, but apparently Pierce Nichity told Larry to keep quiet about it. But why would Pierce do such a thing? Larry's theory is that Sprocket Aviation is developing something in secret. A time machine, to be exact. Do you think that's why nobody would confirm my story? Because it's a secret? I really don't know. But speaking of your in-laws, we did manage to find your keycard at Sprocket Manor. One of your in-laws said he'd keep an eye on it for you. Oh, thank goodness. I lost it while I was getting things ready for the reception. I looked everywhere for it. I'm so glad you found it. At least they're tears of joy this time for a change. Well, Nick, looks like you'll have to prove the existence of time travel in court tomorrow. That's right. I swear that while Mr. Gloomsbury was being killed, I was busy traveling back through time. Great, with stodgy skeptic Edgeworth at the helm for the prosecution tomorrow. We're gonna have our work cut out for us. One second, while this is going on, I gotta open my window. All right. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Ellen. So you're still wearing your wedding gown. And I'll continue to wear it until our marriage is saved. Do you think he came to see how she's holding up? Soren, my love, you came all the way to the courthouse just to see me. I don't know what to say. Blueprints. The engine blueprints. I can't find them. Do you know where they are? They're in your room, third shelf from the bottom on the right-hand side. I see. He's leaving already? Don't tell me he came just to ask about some stupid blueprints. Is he really that cold of a person, or is that just how he comes off, I wonder? What about me, Soren? I don't care about you. He's back. Come home soon. I'm lost without you. Later! Smell you laters, Ellen. Looks like showing your vulnerabilities is the fastest way to capturing a woman's heart. You should take notes on this, Nick. Please leave me out of this. Anyway, it looks like Soren isn't big on words. But it's clear that he cares about Ellen. Knowing that, I actually feel kind of relieved. Mr. Wright, I just absolutely can't be found guilty, you hear? Don't worry, I'm gonna do everything I can to prove your innocence. Thank you, Mr. Wright. The trial's about to start, sir. Knowing him, he's not gonna yield an inch. So I just gotta fight with everything I've got and save Ellen. Dook-a-dook-a-doo. Court is now in session for the trial of Ellen Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Wow, you butt kisser. Seeing so many familiar faces gathered together like this, I feel as though I'm at a grand reunion. Makes me want to go out for a dinner and a drink and reminisce with all of you. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? That sounds like a great idea. I was dying for a real burger the whole time I was away. We could make it a welcome back party for Maya. How about it, Edgeworth? I have no intention of cavorting with my enemies. Now then, Your Honor, let us start this trial at once. Still not one for lighthearted banter, are you, Mr. Blah, 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 blah. Jokes and good humor... Yeah. Good humor are beyond worthless in a court of law. Guess we'll just have to have the party without him then. However, Worth, after the conclusion of this trial, I might consider joining you for your little welcome back party. I certainly wouldn't mind an invite, at the very least. He's still as emotionally constipated as ever, I see. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you'd please go over the details of this case for us. The victim was Dumas Gloomsbury, a servant in the Sprocket household. He was in attendance at the wedding reception that occurred from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mr. Gloomsbury apparently felt some animosity toward Ellen White, and so, a bit after the reception ended at 10 p.m., he assaulted Miss White with the intent to kill her. The defendant fought back and ended up killing Mr. Gloomsbury. In other words, it was justified self-defense. If that's the case, then the defendant might not be criminally responsible. He's right. Worst case scenario, I could go for self-defense to avoid the criminal charge. I wonder how Edgeworth plans to counter that, though. The prosecution's first witness will make my view on the matter clear, Your Honor. Very well, bailiff, please bring in the first witness. Gotta be Pierce. Oh! Who the heck is this? Oh. I was all excited for a new character. Please state your name and occupation. Emma Skye, forensic investigator. And I'd just like to say, sir, that being in the same courtroom as you is a great honor. Oh, that's right. You're a fan of Edgeworth's, aren't you, Emma? We're good friends and all, Mr. Wright. But just this once I intend to faithfully and fully testify for the prosecution. And I do mean that wholeheartedly. I expect no less from you. Yes, sir, I'm gonna do my very best, and we're gonna defeat Mr. Wright! Looks like you lost the popularity contest to Mr. Edgeworth, Nick. I really could care less. Besides, she'll see who's the better lawyer once I win this trial. Maybe then you'll actually really care less. Now, Detective Skye, if you please. The murder weapon was a clock called the Timekeeper. The victim was hit with it from behind and he fell over right into the lantern. The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body holding the murder weapon. The victim was struck twice, by the way. There's no mistake about it. The first blow was to the back of the victim's head. It was hard enough to knock him unconscious. Yet, despite the fact that he had been immobilized by the first blow, the defendant delivered a second fatal blow to the side of the victim's head. Ooh, that's not good. Which means... What do you mean, what exactly? It means it's murder. I figured it'd go right over your head. Let's put it this way. By striking the victim a second time, the defendant killed her last chance to escape from any criminal wrongdoing. But how, Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, you're a judge, come on, man. The defendant may have been fighting back because she was being attacked. However, she then went on to deliver a fatal blow to a man who was already fully unconscious. Nick, is he saying what I think he is? I don't feel so well. And thus, Mr. Wright, has justified self-defense been removed from the table. The prosecution intends to prove that the defendant killed the victim with murderous intent. Allow me to belatedly submit the victim's autopsy report. I thought he was about to say, autopsy! So that's why he was acting all smug. Well, more smug than usual. It's fine, right? It's not like we were going to plead self-defense anyway, right? Right, but now the judge has a negative impression of Ellen. He may not get to prosecute much anymore, but he definitely hasn't lost his touch. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. The murder weapon was a clock called the Timekeeper. The victim was hit with it from behind, and if he... Wait. Okay, here we go.
Hold it!
Are you completely sure the murder weapon was the Timekeeper? Yes, completely. The shape of the injury on the victim's head matches up with that of the Timekeeper. And it's definitely heavy enough to kill someone with. But would the defendant have been able to pick up and swing something so heavy? I tried it myself and I was able to lift it up just fine. Maybe you're just freakishly strong? Excuse me? I'll have you know that people on the force know me as the dainty forensic investigator. Sorry, but really you're hardly a delicate flower. Mr. Wright, this is a court of law. Save your antics for after the trial if you know how. Yes, sir. It won't happen again, sir. Moving on.
Hold it!
The defendant was fighting back against the victim, right? If so, wouldn't she have hit him from the front and not from behind? The victim must have tried to run once Miss White started fighting back. That's probably when he got hit from behind. I see, thus the blow to the back of his head. The defendant must have looked awfully scary when she was brandishing that clock. I don't know about that. Regardless of how scary Ellen looked, the victim was definitely hit from behind. May I go on? Yes, of course. Please do.
Hold it!
But that's only because she was so panicked when she found the body that she tried to use the Timekeeper to go back in time.
Objection!
Oh, you did not just say that. Mr. Wright, do you have any idea how absurd you sound? But Miss White really believed she could travel through time with that clock. You really should have come up with a more credible story, you know. Yes, I agree. Me three, but it's all I got to go on. Anyway, under the circumstances, the only conclusion we can draw is that the defendant killed the victim. The victim was struck twice, by the way.
Hold it!
Miss White must have had a chance to escape after she struck the victim the first time. So why would she stick around and hit him with such a heavy object again? Well, about that. Allow me to explain. Why did she strike him again indeed? To finish off the victim, of course. This very act clearly shows that she had every intention of killing Mr. Bloomsbury. But Miss White would never do a thing like that. Then let's see some evidence that disproves my theory. Are you going to just stand there and take that from him, Nick? I can't refute his claim head-on, so I'll have to approach it from a different angle. Well, looks like we won't be going anywhere until we can refute Edgeworth's claim. This is so exciting. We haven't taken on Mr. Edgeworth in ages. Okay, Nick, now go get him! No need to rush me, Maya. Alright, I better start by comparing Emma's testimony with evidence we have. And look for any glaring inconsistencies. Oops, go back. Let's see what kind of evidence we have. That one could be it. Let's see. Well, it could be. Hold on. Let's see. What could it be? Let me read the statements again.
Objection!
Nope, it's wrong. Your Honor, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna read the incorrect thing. Right into the lantern, spotted it then, standing in front of the body.
Objection!
Detective Sky, I'm afraid I have to apologize in advance. For what? For embarrassing you in front of your idol. What do you mean? If you take a look at this photo of the crime scene, you'll see that the victim is lying on his back. But if the victim had been hit from behind as you claim, then he should have fallen over into the lantern face down. It's not enough to simply take someone's side, Detective Sky, even if it's Mr. Edgeworth's. There does appear to be a flaw in Detective Sky's testimony. Mr. Wright, if you think I'm going to just back right down, then you're sadly mistaken. Emma's unusually fired up today. Don't forget she's in front of her hero, Nick. If the Steel Samurai once came to watch this trial, I'd want to do my absolute best too. Listen, Mr. Wright. It's entirely possible that the defendant moved the victim's body after he fell over. In that case, there wouldn't be any contradiction, right? Indeed. That was an excellent counter-argument, Detective. You can count on me, sir! So, what do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright? Is it possible the victim's body was moved after he fell into the lantern? Sorry, Detective, but there's no way the victim's body was moved after his death. Oh, really? And what makes you so sure? One look at this here and it should become obvious. It's the stuff on top. There's no way he'd have stuff on top of him.
Take that!
What? Okay, hold on. This could be a classic case of misclicking. Hold on a minute.
Take that!
Ah, shit! It's not! Okay. Oh. Is it this piece of wood?
Take that!
Oh, that's dumb. Well, there was nothing wrong with what I presented. If the body had been moved after the fact, these fragments would have fallen off of it. But as you can clearly see, they're lying perfectly undisturbed on top of the body. This means that the victim must have been lying face up from before the lantern even broke. You're right. But wait a minute. If that's true, then when was the victim killed? I mean, the lantern was still whole during the reception, right? Which means we've just overturned a major assumption about this case. The victim was already dead before the lantern was even broken. And the body must have been inside the lantern since before the reception started. And with this, I'm gonna end this video here, so stay tuned for the next one, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!